because if he knows their names, it humanizes them enough for him to remember that people are killing people.
Like he constantly tells Kino and Cassian, "Don't tell me his name."
Exactly, and then that's when he drops the bombshell because he would be the one most privy about the thing that happened on level 2 is that they are dead. They were killed because the prisoners were never going to be free. Which then Kino, you can see Andy Serkis does an amazing job conveying everything through his facial expressions. You can see the contempt, the wrath, the spite. You can see it rise to the surface as he processes the words that's told to him. You can see him fully comprehend that there's nothing left to hold him back. He has nothing to lose. He can finally let loose his rage. So when Cassian asks him how many guards are there, he finally answers him and says, no more than 12. And that was the best part of the episode. The ending was the best part of the episode.
I mean, yeah.
Andy Serkis' performance was just some of the best acted Star Wars I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, really the interesting stuff that comes from this episode is really just the prison stuff for me.
Yeah.
Because, we see, I forget his name, corporate town guy.
Oh, God. Cyril! Hold on, wait. We need to talk about the Cyril incel arc that came out of left field. Hold on! Dear God, I did not know what they were going to do with Cyril, but they're going full incel school shooter with him.
Because, clearly what they're
building... Elliot Rogers!
Don't go that far.
Fucking Elliot Rogers!
Do not go that far.
Oh my God!
But clearly what they're building up is that, I am super passionate about defending the Empire, and I was a big role. I was important. I want to be a big part of the Empire again, and I will do anything to prove myself. That's clearly what they're doing with this character.
Yes, but not just that.
Okay, I know where you're leaning towards, and yes, we have to address it. Him stalking Deirdre, that's it. Him stalking Deirdre was, we're not supposed to like his character, but, a little yikesy, but not to the fault of the writers, to the fault of his character.
Which is
fine.
Which means it's great writing.
Which means it's good writing, but
Yeah, so basically, he is in love with her.
He literally, goes up to her, holds her by the arm and says, "You are my inspiration. Lead me on my path to greatness."
So, this episode goes to great lengths to show just how competent and evil Deidre is. She's a very competent and evil woman. But this show hits you with reality very quickly that, yeah, she may be fucking space Goebbels over here, but she's still a woman. And so, the stalking and the fear...
Because literally, the man idolizes her.
He basically says that she is her interrogation, mind you, her interrogation of him...
Because she didn't treat him well at all. She was just there yeah, give me the information, and then I'm leaving. But, that was enough for him. That was enough for him.
He feels he has a purpose, but also, he feels that she's, truly embodying the justice that the Empire needs. I mean, but he's also, their shared hate boner over Cassian, and the weirdest feeling I get is she is terrified, she is offended, and she's incredibly turned on by this.
Sure.
I can tell.
Sure, yeah.
Because when you see her in the next scene, and you see how flustered she is, it's she's you know what I'm trying to get at?
I see what you're trying to get at, and I would need to see another episode to see it explored, because I tried my best not to think about that part of the episode.
It's like you
Like,
can
it's-
see
like-
the actress forgot her name is Denise something. But the actress that plays Deidre, she plays it very well. Like, clearly, if, like, she was upset and angry, she would have him murdered on the spot. Like, literally, this episode, we see her plan a CIA-level cover-up of murdering someone. Which, we'll get to that. She could clearly have him killed, but I feel like the loyalty... The loyalty and the willingness to do anything, I think, is what's getting to her. Like, seeing him embody the traits she wants to see within the ISB.
Yeah.
Which is, like, why I think, like, there's this saying that everything is about sex. Everything is about politics. No, politics is about sex. It's something like this. Everything is about sex, except for sex, which is about politics. It's basically that. Basically, because of this unholy matrimony of authoritarian fascism and complete just neoconservative just fucking submission, you have this unholy dynamic where it should not work, but you know it could. And it would be horrible, but they would love it.
See, of all the things that I latched onto on this episode, I latched onto the prison stuff because I thought.
I latched onto that
because the commentary that you can derive from that has been amazing. You just threw me for a massive 180 with all of that.
No, that scene was so well acted, but I genuinely feel that Deidre and Cyril are connecting on that wavelength. But, like, I just see the passion. I just see, like, the passion between the two.
I see the passion from Cyril's end, but, like...
I see Deidre has it, but she doesn't want to show it. Because she's space Goebbels.
But, anyway, moving on. We also do get the interrogation of Bix by Deidre. And, based on how she describes it, literally what the Empire did is they... went to a planet, genocided some people, realized, oh, their screeches are really loud and annoying and painful.
Leave it to the Empire to recycle genocide.
Like, why'd you have to word it like that?
They're like, okay, so we genocided this species. How can we use this to cause more pain and suffering? I know, let's just take the screams of horror and terror from dying children and turn it into a torture device because, you know, we might as well find some resources to exploit.
And I thought the doctor who took blood from Grogu was bad. Oh my god.
Like, literally, this is like a level of just demented fucking evil. Goes to great lengths to show you the levels of depravity
I
they
will
are
say,
willing to...
Like, when the sound torture begins, literally, all other sounds are cut off, except for Bix's screaming.
You just hear her screaming and crying, and then, reference to A New Hope, when she's screaming, they do a smash the door closed, and you see feet walking away. That is a direct reference to what happened to Leia when Darth Vader tortured her in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And it was such a great scene, because when you see her afterwards, you can just see she's been mentally... her mind has been broken.
And they mention hearings damage you even more, so... she's probably going to give up some information after this, unless she is super committed and decides to go through it again. It's her soul if she does that.
So Deidre in these scenes she's demented. Do you know who else is fucking demented? Dr. Gorst! Dr. Gorst is fucking horrifying!
I mean, yeah, he's the one who created the torture method.
Like, I genuinely see him as the most terrifying character in all of Star Wars. The amount of sadistic glee he has when describing the genocide the ability, legitimately, he was everything short of getting off while talking about this.
Literally, he had the excitement of a 4-year-old who wanted to show their mom their newest Lego creation.
Yes.
Literally, he was so giddy about it, like going through the details of how they created this torture.
It was like how
process.
the 3 Imperial sound officers who were listening to the screams of dead children were so mentally destroyed by listening to it. They were like, and that was so fascinating. Jesus Christ. Dr. Gorst is one sick fuck. Then we have Deidre. We got a chatter. Thank you, TK98. But the Doctor is so fucking demented. It is insane. He's so... the amount of sadistic glee he takes. And... he's just so fucking evil. And then Deidre is equally as evil. She calls interviews. And she's like, the greatest... She's like, the worst thing you could do right now is bore me. As she is torturing this woman. And of course, the way they guard her after she's been tortured, they just kind of like drag her and throw her onto the bed in the corner. And while I don't think this was intentional, it definitely gave me vibes of like misogynistic men that have just taken advantage of a woman.
Yeah.
Given how the 2 people that throw are 2 men, they throw her in a corner and she's just crumpled, just broken from the torture.
Yeah. But all in all, yeah, this episode was definitely an improvement from the last. Which, I mean, the last one wasn't terrible. It's just it's the weakest point of the show. But episode 9 definitely picks it up.
Yeah,
I would say.
Also, we found out that Mon Mothma and Vel are cousins.
Yeah.
And saying I could say I'm a rich girl who's just running away from my family. She meant Vel because Vel he's a rich socialite.
Yeah, because immediately when I heard that, I'm like, oh, she just said that to like get close to her. But then I realized, oh, the people in her family actually recognize her and know her. So I'm like, oh, they actually are related. I initially thought that was a ruse at first.
Yeah, I did think it was a ruse at first, but then I thought for a second, I'm like, this daughter would not believe that some random woman's her aunt.
Yeah, so it's like immediately it's like you have reason to doubt it at first. Everything that the show has conveyed to you is like everything's going on behind the scenes.
But also how Mon Mothma reacted when she was told her cousins at the residence.
Yeah,
like you could see she was visibly like concerned.
Yeah, that's what was my immediate like. Maybe she's not her cousin, but we learn that she is.
Yes, she is her cousin, and well, they're both in it deep. Like Vel says, like basically the revolution comes first, and we take what's left. Like she is a die-hard, down for the cause rebel. Like she's a revolutionary, and she just came in because she knew Mon Mothma would need emotional support, and let's be honest, Vel needed emotional support too after Aldani.
Yeah, it did take me a while to recognize her because she was dressed up and not in rebellion garb.
Yeah, the actress that plays Vel does a phenomenal job when she acts as the pretty socialite when we see her on Coruscant versus how when we see her in action where she's a gritty, just completely like gritty and just experienced fighter.
Yeah.
Like she was willing to take a child hostage. Which also, think of it from this. What if Vel got captured during the Aldani raid? That's Mon Mothma's cousin. Public knowledge. Like...
Oh yeah, if she got caught, it would have
been over. Mon Mothma could not explain how she wouldn't have known something about this. It's insane how everyone's freaking about bringing Cassian on board, when if Vel gets captured, everything's over.
Yeah, but all in all, this episode was pretty good. I would say I would give episode 8 a 7 and episode 9 7.5.
7.5. Also, did you notice the casual homophobia by Perrin?
No.
Pretty open about that. It was like, so have you decided that you're finally gonna get a husband? Like, and Mon Mothma, she kind of like laughs at him because it's like, we've been through this. And the way it came off made it seem like, oh, is homophobia a thing in the Empire? And then it's like, no, it's not, because one of the Imperial Moths is a woman married to another woman, and no one gives a fuck. Because it's all about human supremacy. So I realized it's Chandrillan culture, because think of... And the fact that they refer to Tay as her boyfriend is like... At what, age 12? She was married at 15! This is basically what I'm saying is that Chandrilla sounds like Space Alabama.
Alright. Moving on, because we literally spent an hour and 45 minutes talking about Star Wars. Let's get into some Marvel news here real quick. Just some brief little snippets here, and one thing that I want to gush about before we move on to politics.
So, first of all, we have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who is most famous for being Black Manta in Aquaman. He's also Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, the main character in Candyman, the Candyman remake. Really good actor. I liked him in Candyman. I never really got to see all the scenes in Aquaman, and I haven't watched Watchmen, but I heard he was really good in it. He plays Dr. Manhattan, and then... Yeah, so he's playing Wonder Man, which I think is great.
Yeah. I mean, he was... To be fair, his character wasn't written that well in Aquaman, but because he literally is just hired by Ocean Master, hey, just be in the plot for 5 minutes and you'll do your job.
Yeah.
Literally, he's in the movie for like a total of like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So he wasn't prominent, but he was there.
Okay. But yeah, so he's going to play Wonder Man, and I'm really interested. This definitely seems to be leaning into the Hollywood era of Wonder Man, because if you don't know, Wonder Man, his whole thing is that he was a geek in high school, and his dad owned a manufacturing firm, and hey, thank you for being here. But yeah, so yeah, Stark Industry is his biggest rival, so he can't actually make a lot of money because, you know, Tony Stark does all the Tony Stark things. And so he goes out of business, and Simon becomes indebted to the mob, and then he ends up going to prison for, like, fraud. It's during his time in prison he gets freed by Baron Zemo and the Enchantress, where they do this ionic energy experiment on him that gives him ionic powers. So now he controls everything ionic, and his brother becomes the supervillain Grim Reaper, who is a member of Hydra. And yeah, so Wonder Man joins the Avengers, but he leaves because he has a massive inferiority complex. So he leaves being a superhero, and then he becomes a Hollywood actor, and that's where he really hits his stride. He joins the West Coast Avengers. Oh, and then he dies.